Truther is like a derogatory term now. It's like, what kind of 1984 world do we live in? It's like, oh, you're just a truther. It's like, yeah, I am. I do want to know the truth. I know it's crazy. I know it's weird to you as a mind-controlled, brainwashed slave, but it's wild and crazy. So
anarchy, of course, and that's a Greek word which means "and" without arche, ruler. And so I just believe that no one should have a ruler and no one should be a slave. I don't know why that's controversial at all.
Which is things like the mainstream media and F the police, but
ask them what they do, and if they go, well, I just spent the last 8 years in university, I'm like, wow, you don't make very good decisions, do you? Like, you just wasted 8 years.
Bro, I'm going to give you a gong for that.
Boom. Consider purchasing all the talks from the TDV Summit, Anarchapulco, Cryptopoco, and the Health and Wellness stage, like going to college. Except you won't waste 4 years and go into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt for a useless piece of paper. This is real education.
Television programming, and it's called programming for a reason, and you get pro-cops and pro-presidents, and the government saved us today, and turn on the news, which is total fake news, and it's just government propaganda. And
you can really reduce the amount that they extort from you, again, all legally, and I'm fully in favor, I want to make this very clear, in doing it illegally as well. It's a criminal system, it's just extortion, and it is actually your duty to avoid it as much as possible. And I don't care about their laws. Their laws are BS. There's only one law, and that's natural law, and there's no taxes in natural law.
Well, first of all, I'm not so sure about human history. I think most things we're told about history are lies.
When you have mafias all across the world, they're called governments,
into Congress, and it's called Congress because it's a con game, and it's called the Constitution because that's also a con.
So if you didn't find these videos changed your life dramatically for the better, just send us an email and we'll send you back your crypto or your dirty fiat currency. We don't want that shit either anyway.
Since 1913, when they first put in the Federal Reserve and the Income Tax Acts in the same year, which is no coincidence whatsoever.
Well, Bitcoin will go up dramatically in price. I'm not John McAfee. I'm not going to make any predictions with my penis. You can't predict my penis at all anyway. You never know what it's going to do. But it's going to go up for sure. Oh, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean it that way. I honestly did not. Bitcoin is going to go up for sure. Freudian slip, or what's the words?
That's why I say to people, get your kids out of the government schools. There's nothing that could be worse than that, than having the government actually actually indoctrinating your child for like 12 of its most important years.
If you've never even smoked a bit of weed, do it, man, because it'll start to make you think.
They managed through the government indoctrination camps and through the media, the mainstream media, television propaganda programming, to tell people that, oh, when you have a democracy, then you are the one who rules yourself, and you get to rule yourself by voting once every 4 or 5 years. You get to tick a box, and then some guy goes somewhere and he makes decisions about what you're going to have to give up and how much they're going to extort you and things like that. I think the only way we get rid of all of this is for people to wake up and realize that these people don't own you, and start to move away from these systems, and these people just go away and have to get real jobs. And how exactly we ended up in this situation where most of us are so enslaved, and so many of us seem to really love it and support it.
I always wonder if, because almost the entire drug trade is CIA. The cartels in Mexico are mostly in bed with the CIA. The CIA is the biggest drug dealer in the world.
Money, but they didn't really want to do that. They're like, we'll make way more if it's illegal. So the cartels, the police, and the government, and the gangs are the 4 people who don't want to see drugs legalized. Now, if that doesn't tell you something, like, I don't know how dumbed down or brainwashed you are, it should be crystal clear who profits from this and who doesn't.
2 weeks ago, that really information started to come out about Fraudbook's new Zuckerbucks, Facebook's new cryptocurrency, which initially a couple weeks ago was supposed to be called Global Coin. But they kind of changed their mind on that very quickly. And they get all scared, and I would never go to El Salvador. Oh yeah, this is pretty bad. It's pretty bad here. But I saw on the news, just turn it off. You're being programmed just like
all these things. It's actually not true. And really the only thing that you should believe or care about is that no one hurts anyone else. That's really there's only one rule. And Jesus had a way of putting it. He called it the golden rule. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. I call it the non-aggression principle. Basically, the only way to tell if anything is bad or good in this world is if someone is hurting someone else. If they aren't, then it is not a crime, and you should not be wanting to see them caged or killed if they're not hurting anyone else. You could totally dislike what they do, but you shouldn't be supporting their being hurt when they don't hurt anyone else.
And yeah, so as you can see, I just walked through a pretty dangerous part of El Salvador here. Now I know someone's going to post, oh, I went to El Salvador once 5 years ago and I was in a bad part of town and I was drunk and someone stole my wallet. So Jeff, you're wrong. I know shit happens. Of course it happens. That can happen anywhere. And I'm sure there's some bad parts of El Salvador. Just like if you go to the south side of Chicago, 40 people get shot every weekend, you're just dodging bullets. So don't go to the south side. Every place has its good and bad places. And really, if you're a guy, just stop being a little bitch.
Oh, by accident this all happened? There's no way. There's no way. It's possible, but there's no way.
Most of the movies put out by Hollywood, especially war-related movies, are all actually approved by the Department of Offense, which they call the Department of Defense, which is situated in the pentagram, by the way. I don't know if you ever noticed it's a pentagram. And a lot of what you could call conspiracy stuff, but really just reality stuff, they put in a thing that really is very good at figuring out what a meme means and then putting up some PolitiFacts. Well, here's some PolitiFacts. Well, thanks, FBI book. Thank you so much for the PolitiFacts. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what a fact was. Unless you totally flipped it upside down. It's like, oh yeah, you can knock down 3 buildings with 2 planes at free fall speed. It's physically impossible, but it was probably some guy in a cave in Afghanistan, and that's a fact. That's PolitiFacts. But a lot of this is coming from the mainstream media. So whenever I get any information from the mainstream media, I'm immediately basically thinking this is not correct information, because it never is. But some people still think like, oh, they're like journalists and they're giving us important information that we need to know. No, all of it, every mainstream media is a government organization. This has been proven. This goes back to like the 60s and 70s. Some guy came out, I forget when it was, 60s or 70s, I think it was in Rolling Stone or one of those magazines. He probably got killed after, but he exposed how the CIA is at the root of all of those, CNN, Fox, everything. It's all run by the CIA. Well, just look at Anderson Cooper, Mr. Anderson in The Matrix. He's CIA. This is like proven stuff. Anyway, I think most of you guys know that. But still, I find too many people give too much credence to anything put out by them, right? So hopefully, being on the optimistic note here, with so many people starting to realize, wait a sec, the 2 people who were running for president in 2016 were both involved with the massive pedophile ring and child trafficking. Maybe there's something wrong with this system. Even FedNow, the new Federal Reserve System, so you can transfer money in real time. Wow, that's pretty high tech there, Federal Reserve. And they're like, I think they said 3 to 5 years. It already exists in every cryptocurrency. I'll leave it there. Another beautiful day here in beautiful Mexico. Super dangerous, as you can see. Super, super dangerous. Just, you know. I'm on a boat, motherfuckers.
Wait, this video just scratched the surface. The attacks from big government and central banks are just starting. To survive today's economic chaos, you need to understand topics ranging from Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to the latest misinformation from the Federal Reserve, what the central banks are up to, and how big government is encroaching on your life. Subscribe to this channel now, and don't forget to click the bell beside the subscribe button to make sure you never miss a single video. Take responsibility for your own future and make your personal world a better place. Share this video with your friends and subscribe now. We're all in this together.